G'day YouTube. It's been some time since I've posted a video, but I'm going to have another crack at it. This time I'm trying a little experiment where I'm going to have a go at making some kombucha. To start that off, I'm going to grow my own SCOBY. So I'm going to take you through that little process and we'll see how it works out. So come along for the ride. Alright, so from the research I've done and talking to other people that are making kombucha, I've got my basic ingredients to start with my SCOBY. So to start with, there's a glass jar that I picked up from a $2 shop, cost me less than $10. I've got 2.5 litres of filtered water in there. My mixing bowl, which I'll be mixing the starter in. Got a cupful of sugar, some black tea bags, and starter tea, which is just a raw organic kombucha that I picked up down at the health food store. So let's get underway. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the sugar in the bowl, and then to that I'm going to add 1.5 litres of boiling water. There's 1.5 litres of filtered water boiled up in the kettle. So I'm going to add that to the sugar. And then we'll give that a good stir to dissolve all the sugar. Make sure all that sugar gets dissolved, because that's apparently what the bacteria that comes from the kombucha tea that I purchased is going to feed on to create my SCOBY. So to that we need to add, making 4 litres, so I think I need about 8 tea bags to add to that. So through the magic of video I'm going to add 8 bags of tea. So magically all the drawstrings have come off my tea bags, so adding 8 bags of tea to the brew, and we need to let that steep for about 10-15 minutes, allowing the water in this container to come down to room temperature. So we'll leave that for 10 minutes or so. And alright, so the tea has been steeping for about 10-15 minutes, and as you can see it's nicely brewed. So we'll give it a last quick stir. Just need to remove the tea bags, get rid of them. The excess liquid. Alright, pop them down there. Now while that's been steeping, I opened one of the kombucha bottles. Now that way apparently it brings the cultures to the top, which I'm not sure if it has or not. But now what I need to do is I'm going to add that to the glass jar with the room temperature water, and I need to leave that for the temperature to come down to about room temperature before I add the starter tea. So just got to pop the camera down there for a sec while I do that, because I do need both hands. Add that into there. Whoa, that made a mess. So I lost some of my tea because obviously I had a bit of a I should have practiced that before I started, but that's all good. Now I need to let that cool down to room temperature before I add the extra tea. So that's what it looks like for the moment. I've got some cleaning up to do in the meantime, so yeah, once that's cooled down to room temperature we'll get on to the next. Okay, so the tea, the sweet tea, has cooled down to room temperature. So now I'm going to add the starter tea. It has some live cultures in it already. I had a look and it's looking pretty good. So I'll pop that in. I won't add the second bottle, so we'll give this a go. I'll put that second bottle in the fridge and I might use that next time. So now I just need to cover this up with using some 3-ply paper towel, So we don't actually seal the bottle apparently. This way the cultures can breathe, but then no little bugs or germs like fruit flies or anything can get in. So I'm going to do that and then pop it on top of a shelf in the on top of my bookcase and leave it there for a couple of days, or a couple of weeks actually, because it's winter here in Melbourne. Just starting winter, so the temperature's not ideal, but it'll just means it'll take a little bit longer. Okay, so there's the sweet tea. I've popped it on top of the my bookcase there with the dragon to guard it. I'll come back and check that periodically, and we'll see how the culture's growing. But by looking at the top there, you can already, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a couple of little bits of bacteria there starting up, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a nice SCOBY from that. So yeah, next little clip will be hopefully progress.